Okay, it's day 102, and the memo has already come out. This is a day before the State of the Union on the 29th of January. Before we get into the memo's release and how Andy McCabe used these GCHQ people, I want to coin a new term, which is the GCHQ crown. That's sort of like in the Navy when you get your own ship and you become a captain, you become a commissioned officer where you actually have a ship. That's a different club. It's almost like being made in the mafia. Until then, you're a chief petty officer. So I'll just go through some of the Navy Yard stuff that we've done and why it's going to be one of the key centers of our story. And I've done quite a few stories about the Navy Yard, as you can see. So that's where I believe we talked about DNC Help Desk being there, but I also now think that's where Imran lived and actually got into the servers and so forth. Speaking of, I am going to be right about Charleston being where the nuclear material comes in. But that's another story. And then National Harbor is going to be another key one. National Harbor came up quicker for me because of the fact that Rod Wheeler said that he was doing the food business there. As soon as I heard USDA and food business, I said, oh my God, halal and all these other things, kosher foods and so forth. This is a classic way of doing drugs, or the fruit and vegetables, any perishables that need special handling. And the food inspection is like a key thing. I'm not saying Rod Wheeler's involved in the drug business, but I said, and then as soon as Jason and I were going to go meet him there, I said, I saw the G4S, and I said, oh, that's it. This is where the Swabbies are recruited on that side. So National Harbor is where I think the Swabbies get recruited, if you remember the old pirate ships. And then the chief petty officers are more the Inter-America program. They're the ones that get brought into the Navy Lodge over on Pennsylvania Avenue, and you impress them. You impress the midshipmen as they go up. And then when you become a captain, you get to go to be a big pirate, and you go to Congo and you can rape the girls and rape, pillage, and plunder, and take the uranium and so forth. So that's kind of the flow here. And then I've always gone down to the Navy. This is the Navy Museum downtown on Pennsylvania Avenue, and that's the system or the symbol I use for the whole system. Okay, so National Harbor, Swabbies, Navy Yard, down by Imran is where the new Rayo Abbas's come in. You give them a cab on the other side of the street. You teach them the ropes down at the bottom of 213, building 213, and there you go. So and then there's Anacostia. Anacostia is going to be where kind of all the protection is, and it's going to be it's sort of the place where, and this goes all the way back to George Bush and so forth, really where kind of drugs got started in Washington D.C. And this is the Rick Ross, this is the Freeway Rick Ross thing, and you can see where I said, gosh, this is probably 150 days ago now, Iran-Contra 2. I didn't have Iran-Contra yet. Somebody gave me that later. But I said Navy Yard plus Anacostia DHS, and then Iran-Contra times 100. And I still think it's that way. The DNC's help desk is over there. You remember the guy who was the help desk manager and so forth. And like I said, sometimes you have to chase these stories down. I had to throw down in about South Carolina, and you got to take chances, and I was right. So anyway, Black Ivy, I just saw this. I also wanted to say it's not just taking the resources. I also think they're selling these despotic dictators nuclear energy, these small nuclear reactors in these small nations where nobody's ever going to go. And if anybody ever talks, they can just kill off everybody and then get the new folks. But I do believe they're putting in power and so forth. And all these windmills and stuff that you see in Morocco are just that. They're just windmills for show. Now, I'm not saying that the windmills in America are. I do believe they produce power. But I also think wherever the windmills are in the United States, I think you're going to be a good candidate for finding one of these kind of buried thorium reactors. And it just makes sense. You make a lot of money that way on these projects. So anyway, a lot of people have talked to me about 333, Constitution Avenue. Hey, that's half evil. Don't you know that means half evil? Yeah, no, I know it means half evil. As a matter of fact, we met, Task Force and I met we met a U.S. Marshal who was involved in, taking all these people around in federal protection. And what they try to do with those federal marshals is, he had a big 333 tattoo on his forearm, And what they try to do is to say, hey, it's okay to hurt the bad guy as long as you give to the good guy. And as you move up the scale, kind of like a Masonic, little steps, you do increasingly nasty things, and up to and including murder. So, and the drug business is introduced that way, and the Navy Masons do run it. It's a very small group inside the Navy Masons, but that is how the drug business is run on this big scale. So anyway, we'll just the other pieces. The reason why I said John Wilkes' phone booth when he left that night, so the server, just to do the chronology again, the server is at that Navy Yard location, I believe, until the 20th of January, on the night of inauguration. It is then taken to Imran's house. But I still say Imran it's taken to the Hawkshead location. But he still goes down M Street. I'm still saying Imran goes down M Street to Anacostia. Or he went to the M Street location to wait to see if he was going to be arrested or not. I do think he was let go on his recognizance that night, about midnight on April 6th. But then he goes on. That's why the Navy Yard that was the giveaway for me, Anacostia and the DHS. As soon as I put that link together, I knew it had to be one of those two locations, either M Street or Anacostia. So that's going to hopefully be coming out. And I want to go back and remaster some of these because they were poorly produced and they were shaky and so forth. So I am going to be in the processes of remastering them, cutting them down, just to make them more playable, if you will. So I'll end it there. The memo comes out today. New concepts, the Inter-America. Well, let's just do Inter-America really quickly. And that's Enter America. That's the wink there. And it goes back to 1984, this program, I believe, the Anacostia program. And there's the Navy Lodge. And that was, 100 days ago we went there. And that's where the ceremony is when they first come into the United States. And then Rayo's going to get his cab. So there you go.